This is the Speak Easy podcast where we go behind the scenes of what it takes to be that professionally paid speaker or author. I am your host, Outsavis Pelzer, the voice coach, professional speaker, certified life coach, and founder of the World Voice League. Yes, a community of female speakers coming together to impact social change. So guys, we know all about when it comes to passion. That is that number one word that we hear people talk about very, very often. But they talk about it, but do we really go into detail about it? I mean, we kind of throw that word around. I'm passionate about something. I want to work in my passion. But do you really know what that passion is? Learning to unlock the passion and open up the door to you is something phenomenal and takes a couple different pieces that you may have been missing. So I'm super excited about our episode for today because our special guest is going to be coming on. Hey, Shonda.
Hi.
Super excited to have her on this evening, joining us for this special episode. But guys, listen, I'm going to let LaShonda introduce herself to you, and then we're going to dive into today's topic.
Great. Hi, guys. I'm so excited to be here. I'm LaShonda Herring, and aspiring entrepreneurs, those new entrepreneurs, hire me to unlock what they were born to do. Because most of them are feeling unsatisfied, they're feeling unfulfilled, and they want more. So I help them to align, design, and launch a business and a life that they love to wake up to every single morning. So I am so excited to be here.
And that is such a great segue into the topic for today, simply because when we understand on this side of it, that when it comes to walking in your passion, man, you enjoy waking up, you enjoy, or even staying asleep a little bit later, depending on who you have in your home. But we enjoy waking up because that passion drives us, that passion pushes us out of the bed. But what is that passion? You know, what would be that number one thing that you would tell someone who's just coming to you and saying, I don't even know what my passion is?
Yeah, the first thing I tell most of us, especially as women, is we have to do a self-inventory. Because one of the things is most of us throughout our life, school history, we were all trained to be employees. And from working in jobs, what we find is that we go into companies or organizations and we have to act the way they want us to. We have to speak the way they want us to. We have to dress the way they want us to. So now when you're becoming an entrepreneur and a speaker, everyone's asking you to be authentic and be yourself. Well, what does that look like if you've never done it? So the first step in that is figuring out, well, who am I right now? Because who you were maybe 10 years ago is so different than who you are now. So really doing a simple thing of what are the things I like to do? What are the things that are important to me? That's the first step in uncovering the bigger picture.
And that's another piece of it, is the bigger picture. I think sometimes we get a little confused when it comes to passion because we think we have to see the whole thing right now. I have to see what's going to happen in 5 years and 10 years. But what would you say to someone who's saying, oh my goodness, I can't move in my passion because I don't really know what the next 5 years is going to look like?
My first thing is don't worry about it. The key is that's not your job. Our job is to take the first step. You know, I am a spiritual person, so I believe that the divine is going to lead you. And we don't need to know the how. We just need to do our work, which is have the faith and take that first step and saying, okay, I know this is the thing I like. So let me look for opportunities working in this one piece that I like, because the other pieces are going to unfold. And the other thing is we might not have the skill today at this moment to do something that's going to happen 5 years from now. There's things we need to learn. So if you're starting to think about 5 years from now, you can get very overwhelmed because there's so much that you're going to have to learn and go through to get to that stage in 5 years.
So you just said something that sparked a whole other direction for me when it comes to passion, is that we think that, yeah, we think in having the whole puzzle together. And we forget that, no, we may have just a few pieces of the puzzle, and it's okay for us to move forward in just having the few pieces of the puzzle, because at some point we're going to come in contact with the rest of the pieces that we need.
Absolutely. That is so crucial. Because I think what people don't understand is you don't necessarily know the resources that you're going to need to put those other pieces together. You don't know necessarily who needs to come into your life to do that, to help you, who's going to open that door for you. So if we start worrying about the other things, what winds up happening is we get sidetracked and we don't do the work we're supposed to do right now. And we don't take that first step because we're too busy worrying about 10 steps down the road that we don't even go and do the step that we actually can do right now, which is so huge.
Crazy, because as we move in this purpose and in this passion, we learn that we spark something for other people around us. We spark an idea, we spark creativity. As we start moving in our passion, we kind of unlock that door, not just for us, but now we're unlocking that door for other people around us. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because what happens is that it's like I call it when your light turns on. You know, we're all attracted to light. So when you see a light, you're like, oh, you turn and you look and you see, what is that? It's the same thing. People will do that. They'll come to you and be like, well, what are you doing? I see you've got this new energy. What is that you're talking about? And it's like contagious. And so they may be a piece that you're missing to your puzzle because they have some skill or they have some resources that they can add to your journey that makes it so much easier. And the other piece is by you doing it, you give other people the courage to step into their own passion because they see you doing it and they're like, well, maybe I can do this too.
Yeah, it makes us think like, oh, well, maybe it's not as difficult as what we originally thought. Because we think you have to be a transformer in order to make things happen, and it's not always the case. So it makes us seem like, okay, well, I can be comfortable in who I am and move in my passion, and it be an amazing thing. What does that look like? That's such an amazing feeling to have, is that I don't have to be Superwoman. I don't have to have a cape. I can do it just as I am. So now with working and unlocking that passion, what did that look like for you in your personal journey?
I tell people all the time, I always say, if I can do it, you can do it. Because I'm one of those people that needs the brick in the head in order for me to get things. So it was not easy. I tell people that all the time. There were signs all the time that I should be doing something different, and I kept ignoring them. You know, I stayed at my job too long. I worked over 50 hours a week. It got to a point where I was working for a new boss who didn't like me and wanted me to be fired. I had a coworker who was after my job. So all the signs were there, but like I said, I needed that brick in the head in order for me to leave and say, okay, you're no longer needed here. You need to go do something else. And I really had to sit with it and look at what was it that I was here to do. You know, because at first I started following other people and doing what they said do and doing it their way and in their voice. And it did not work. I will tell you, it did not work at all until I sat still and realized, what is my voice? What is that thing in my heart that I got to keep saying? It keeps coming up for me. I keep wanting to do this. I keep wanting to work with this group. When I followed that, it was in flow. Things became easy. The work was not so hard. Yes, I still had to do work, but it wasn't as hard as before, because before I was walking into closed doors because it wasn't where I should be, you know. So I tell people all the time, don't be like me. Don't need a brick in the head. Listen to what is there. Listen to the message you're given. Listen to the divine, because it will really unfold for you. And sometimes we block it because we're afraid. Because you look around and you're like, no, that's not me. You must be talking to that person over there who's supposed to do this, but I'm not supposed to do that.
That speaks a lot to, when you talked about the closed doors, because man, we will have a closed door and closed opportunity. Somebody said no to us, and we are sitting there banging at the door, banging at it like, please let us in, not realizing that what was on the other side of that door could have been dangerous. It could have been something that led you to the opposite of you moving towards your goal. It could have been something that was leading you down a completely horrible path. But in the moment, it looked like a good idea.
Mhm. Absolutely. And it looks like a good idea because we think we know what it's supposed to look like, what the outcome is supposed to be. And we're not trusting because what we don't understand is like when you're doing your passion, your dream that you have, I don't care how big it is, the universe, the divine has something so bigger, so much bigger for you, so much more powerful than you could ever imagine. Because if it was unfolded to you, you'd be scared to death and wouldn't want probably do it. You'd run in the opposite direction. So the reality of it is when you step into it and you trust, it becomes a lot easier. And I work with clients a lot, not just on the structure of things, but how do I get out of my own way? How do I move past the fear to really do the passion? Because what we all are is our worst critics, right? So we'll say, oh yeah, but I messed up here, I messed up there. So how could I possibly do this? Who's really going to listen to me? And we have to work through that because your message is for you to deliver, period.
Now you brought out the big T word, trust. That word right there. Ooh, it is such a big step for so many people because we've been hurt, because we've gone through things. We kind of stepped out there on the ledge thinking it was strong enough to hold us sometimes, and it wasn't. So when we think about trust and our passion, go a little deeper into how that trust is so important for us to move forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, that trust is crucial because what happens is when you start to trust, your actions are stronger than you realize. Because a lot of times when we're taking that step, I don't know if you guys have seen the poem or read the poem of Footprints. You see the one footprint in the sand. That's when God's carrying you. And I don't know about you, but I believe the divine is way more powerful than me, way more knowledgeable than me, knows all. So I'd rather have that guiding me than me who doesn't know what's around the corner, doesn't know what's going to happen. So for me, trust is a muscle. So if you're a person who does not trust, it's a muscle. You have to work it. How do we get stronger? By little things. By little things. Don't go out and just like, oh, I'm going to quit my job and trust everything's okay and you don't have a clue of what to do and what's going on. I'm not talking about that. That is not the kind of trust I'm talking about. So let me be real clear because some people do that. They just jump. What I'm talking about is start off in little things in your life that don't have major consequences and start your trust there. Say, I don't know what's going to happen in this little situation, but I'm going to trust. You get an inkling of maybe I should go right. Go right and see what happens. Those are little things, and you start to do it more and more in your life, then you can start to do it in the bigger decisions. But it is a muscle, just like anything else. It has to be worked in order for it to get stronger. And when it's stronger, you become more powerful. That's like when you see CEOs of seven-figure companies, they have worked that muscle of trust for a very long time and on a consistent basis. That's how they got to be the CEO. That's how they're in charge of everything. They just didn't wake up one day and it was like that. They had to work that muscle. So sometimes we look at people who are way far advanced than we are and do a comparison. And you can't. It's just like your first day at the gym. You're not going to be like a bodybuilder. It's just not going to happen, not even in a week. So we have to allow ourselves some patience. You really do. Patience, support. And when you mess up, start all over again. Don't give up. That's the key with trust. Don't give up. Keep at it and work it. I promise you, soon it will start to become a habit and that muscle will get stronger and you can start to trust in the bigger things. We trust ourselves every day to get ourselves dressed and go out and wear the right clothes. Little things like that we forget as adults, but we had to learn it as a kid. So it's just the little things. You know how to do so many things, but we have so much self-doubt that we forget the things that we really do know and the knowledge that we hold.
You know, it's interesting too, because I often have to remind people that a lot of times the ones that we trust the most are not even there to be the ones to sow into our vision and sow into our passion. They're there because they love us, but not necessarily because they're going to sow into that dream and that passion. And so a lot of times the ones that are going to sow into that passion and that dream are people that we don't even know yet. They don't even know our name yet. But we meet them on this journey, we meet them along this path, and we have to have that level of trusting people that we don't necessarily know at this moment in order to see our vision come to pass, because we never know what they may have that we can use.
That is so true. Oh my gosh, that is so true. And the key with that is about discernment. So another piece of that trust and this whole pieces of this puzzle is discernment. Do you know how to discern? Do you know how to make choices? Do you know how to listen to that little voice inside? Do you know the sound of it? Do you know how to read your intuition? That gut, I call it your compass, when things feel right. And a lot of times we forget that because we live in a society that tells us to do, and not pay attention to our feelings, not pay attention to our emotions, or you're too emotional, or you're too this. But it really is our compass to gauge ourselves if we're on the right path or not. Because here's an example. Like, have you ever gone in a room and you walk in and you're feeling like, ooh, this doesn't feel right. Something's not right. I need to leave. That is your compass. That's your intuition telling you that this is not the right space for you. And we need to learn how to listen to that more and honor it, because it's always there, but sometimes our mind and our ego takes over and we think that's the most important part when it's not. Your power comes from your intuition, from that discernment, from knowing, because when you're in that space, in that centered space, when that person comes, you're going to know, you're going to feel it. You're going to know there's going to be a physical sort of affirmation in yourself that you're going to be like, yep, this is the right person for me. This feels good. This feels right.
That is so important. I cannot stress it enough that when you do not listen to that voice, you will set yourself up for failure. And you will end up making your journey a whole lot harder than what it needs to be, because you're ultimately you're creating your own detour. When you're not trusting that discernment, you're creating your own detour. And I know many of the listeners probably can relate to that. So you thinking back and saying, yeah, that detour was not there before I got to that point. I was the one who created that new path through the wilderness. And it's all because of, we've been hurt sometimes. So we have a problem with trust, and we're scared, we're fearful of stepping out into the unknown. But as we grow and encourage ourselves, that's where really being around the right people will help to push that forward. Making sure that you have the coach, making sure you have the mentor and the support team. That's all very important. So what would you tell them would be, I would say their powerhouse team would include what when going in, first moving into that realm of finding out and unlocking your passion?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm all about team. Oh my gosh, you cannot do this without a team. Let me say that again. You cannot do this and do this well without a team. So I'm absolutely a firm believer in you need a coach or mentor, some form or fashion. You need it, and you might need more than one. Let me be clear about that. You might need more than one because different coaches handle different things. Some coaches are specialized in marketing, some help for business building, some are spiritual coaches. So you might need some in different areas. You might even need a personal coach, to deal with fears and blocks. You have to decide where are sort of your weakest areas and get coached and mentored in that. The other piece is, oh my gosh, legal. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't like jail. And I don't want to go to jail, and I don't want to see any parts of jail. So lawyers, having some kind of legal counsel is a must. An accountant, telling you, those are two I don't play. I don't even try to even go in those directions. Like that I know totally need expertise, because here's the thing, you work really hard in your business. You want to keep it. You want to keep your money, you want to keep your freedom. And those two people will absolutely positively help you with that. The other thing is a support team. You need other peers who are on this journey with you. There are times of the day where I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know, I have an idea, and maybe my coach isn't available, my coach is dealing with someone else. I will literally send out a message to my team and be like, okay, help. I need some support here. And sometimes they'll say prayers, sometimes they'll give encouraging words. Sometimes they'll even send a text and say, okay, what do you need? I'm available right now. I'm here to talk. But you need that on this journey. We were not meant to do this alone, because most of us are here to impact other people anyway. So you're going to need other people on your team because they may have insights, resources, skills that you don't have. So I just think it's crucial. And I would say online and offline support. So your peers online, because I can get to them any time of day, because where it's nighttime here and your local people might be asleep, over in the UK, they're awake, so they'll talk to you. So you may need that. And then locally, because sometimes I need to get out my house and sit down with someone and just talk and just share this journey and say, okay, here, look at this ideas. Let's talk about how this journey is, how it's impacting my life, how family life is going. You need all of that. And a lot of this, I will tell you, may not be, it's just like after you said, it's not necessarily the people that you love, that you've known for years and years. In the last 3 years, I've met some amazing strangers who have so much poured into my business. And without them, I can't tell you, I don't know where I would be. So it's really crucial to at least starting out there. As you get bigger and you grow, you're going to need social media. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if you don't want it. You're going to need social media. I don't care if you're an introvert. You're going to need social media. So you're going to need somebody who can help you with those things as you build and you grow. And you're going to need somebody to help you. How do you hire a team? How do you be a leader? You're going to need someone for that as well as you start to get bigger and to manage that money. You know, so you're going to need that financial person as well. But here's another piece that people tend to forget when you are an entrepreneur. You are going to need self-care. Absolutely, positively self-care. So you need somebody who's going to help you with self-care, whether that's exercise, whether that's meditation. I don't care what kind of self-care it is. I don't care if it's a masseuse. I don't care if it's a nail tech. You are going to need someone to help with self-care that needs to be on your team, because we need to always rejuvenate ourselves more so than you ever would have when you were an employee. You're going to need it more now because so much is riding on your decisions and the work that you do. So that would be the team that I would absolutely say that you need.
Man, you just said a mouthful right there, because these are the key elements that make up success. That's the key elements that make up success. And oftentimes we get in front of people and they're only telling us one part of that, that equation. They're only giving us one piece of it. And we kind of get sidetracked, or we'll get focused on one piece and not realize that we need the other pieces. So important for us to look at the full picture in that arena, that guess what? I can't do it by myself. I need these other people on my team. Now, I always ask, no matter who comes onto the broadcast, what has been a blunder for you in this journey? What is something that you can look back right now and say, you know what? Yeah, that wasn't a good choice.
Oh my gosh, one? I've got many. I can tell you, I sometimes I need the brick, so it's never just one with me. I would say one of the big things is that I had to stop listening to the noise. There is so much information out there that I kept consuming the information, and not really looking at, does this information match who I am? Does this fit my values? Does this fit the type of business that I want to do? I just kept doing what other people were saying, and I wasted so much time and energy, and sometimes I would even do programs and run them, and I was exhausted, and I didn't even like them. So for me, it was a matter of, okay, stop the noise, go within. Go within and start there. And every time, I will tell you, every time I do that, no matter in what area, whether it's doing a new program, whether it's doing a speaking engagement, it always works out best. When I go within, I connect with the divine, I connect with who I am, it always works out better than anything else.
That is truly just epic. I can't even, there's nothing else to add at that point. And we could go on and on and on for this particular episode, because when we're talking about passion and unlocking and opening the door to you, there's so many different things that are not really tapped into on a regular basis. So I want you to let the audience know how they can reach out to you, how they can get in contact with you for more information.
Sure. You can go to my website, and it's zone.net. And on the homepage of my website, there's a free gift that I give out to everybody, which is a starting point. It's a basic checklist for your business. There's stages that we go through, and I have laid it out in a simple form and given you questions at each stage that you can ask yourself so that you can answer to make sure that you've completed that that stage is well defined for who you are. That is so crucial. This business totally has to reflect you. So remember that. And on that page as well is my email and my phone number. So it's all on that one page. You don't have to go anywhere else. Just go there, and all the information's right there for you.
So guys, I always tell you, the reason why I enjoy bringing the speakers and authors that come on, and entrepreneurs and coaches, because I want you to always be in the position where you can be that successfully paid speaker and author moving forward. And a lot of times we get into the sparkle and everything is glowing and the next best thing, but we forget that it starts with passion, it starts with purpose, and combining those two is how you go on to having a life of success. So you got to understand that without it, you're just going to kind of fumble through, this journey, and it doesn't feel good just fumbling through it. So I want you to make sure that you reach out to Shonda if you have any questions. Also, you guys have been commenting. The studio audience is like going wild in the comments. I see you guys. We appreciate you guys as well. But we want you to make sure that you give us a review over on iTunes and let us know how this particular episode really resonated with you. bit.ly/Speakeasy Podcast Show, all lowercase. We would love to hear from you. But not only that, guys, thank you so much for sharing this out. Because guess what? Without the studio audience, there is no Speakeasy Podcast. So guys, we're going to wrap it up. And until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.